But we're going to look at a very important topic tonight. And this is something, if you talk to Muslims, if you try to share the gospel with Muslims, you're going to be confronted with this issue over and over and over again, like a beating drum. And that's why we're going to address it. Now, Paul, you have Muslim friends?
Yes, sir.
What do you believe as a Christian?
Main tenets of the gospel.
Yeah. You can talk for an hour about what you want,
right.
what you believe as a Christian. What would the main idea be?
Jesus claimed to be divine and was divine.
Okay.
He was
so
crucified,
deity of Christ.
Right.
Okay.
Crucified and died for the sins of the world.
Jesus died on a cross for sins. Okay.
And he rose again on that third day.
So his resurrection from the dead. And by the way, those of you who want to study Christianity, that's the core of the gospel. Jesus said all kinds of things. He taught all kinds of things. He preached sermons. But when we look to the core of the gospel, always, 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 we find death, deity, resurrection. Death, deity, resurrection. So you believe those things as a Christian. Is that what Muslims believe?
Absolutely not.
So Muslims don't believe Jesus died on the cross, don't believe he rose from the dead, don't believe he claimed to be divine. So we have a conflict here, right? And so as a Christian, you're commanded to share the gospel, and Muslims don't believe that, and so there's going to be disagreement there. So when you tell a Muslim, hey, my Muslim friend, I've got my Bible here. My Bible says Jesus claimed to be divine. He died on the cross for sins. He rose from the dead. Like clockwork, what's the response going to be?
Your book is corrupted, my friend.
Our book has been corrupted.
Now, the New Testament clearly states that it is preferable for men to castrate themselves, become eunuchs, Matthew 19:12. It also states that true Christians can drink poison, Mark chapter 16, and not be harmed. Finally, it states that women must pray with their heads covered, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and that a woman speaking in church is shameful, 1 Corinthians chapter 14. My question is, why don't the vast majority of Christians follow these rules? And if they do, I would like, Mr. Wood, I have a vial of whiteout, liquid paper, highly toxic. I would like Mr. Wood to swig this bottle of whiteout. If he does not do it, then he does not agree that this is the Word of God, because he's a Christian, and Jesus says, according to the Gospel of Mark chapter 16, that he can drink poison and survive. If he does not do it, then he is admitting this is not the Word of God. If he does do it and he survives, I am willing to become a Christian tonight.
Did you say a bottle of whiteout? I might do that for you. I wrote down poison and women in churches. There was something else.
Men have to become eunuchs. It's preferable for men to become eunuchs. Christians can eat poison. A woman must pray with her head covered, according to 1 Corinthians 11. A woman speaking in church is shameful, according to 1 Corinthians 14.
As far as the mark, that comes from the end of Mark, which practically every scholar, every Bible scholar in the world says was not authentic, that this was a later addition. As far as the mark, that comes from the end of Mark, which practically every scholar, every Bible scholar in the world says was not authentic, that this was a later addition, was not authentic, that this was a later addition, was not authentic, that this was a later addition. And so that's not in the early source material. As far as our earliest records don't have that part about the poison.
Our book has been corrupted.